Yo, so if you have been living under a rock or you just didn't really catch any of the news that was going on, 2K definitely did drop a blog for 2K24, kind of going over all the new things, kind of like new mechanics and gameplay things that we should be looking forward to in 2K24. So in this video, I'm going to be going very quickly, kind of summarizing all those main points for you all here and kind of giving my initial thoughts on those things. The first thing we have is Proplay. So Proplay basically is just taking real life animations and canning it into NBA2K24. I'm going to show a clip here from kind of what they show us side by side from a real life action footage of KD versus what is in 2K24. So very simply, Proplay is just taking what you actually see in the NBA at real time, placing those animations into 2K to make the game a little more fluid and seamless like you would actually watch on TV. My initial thoughts is that this is actually gonna be a really big game changer. I know that every year we kind of have, animations and things kind of get wonky. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna be completely eliminated. I just feel that with Proplay capturing most of these animations, we should see a pretty fluid 2K24, hopefully. That's my initial thoughts. Now, when I mean animations, I mean everything, okay? So I mean from the passing to the dribbling to the jump shots, just everything, celebrations. So with that being said, like I said, it should be a very fluid game. There should be less just kind of like weird, odd things that we kind of see in 2K. So hopefully that definitely becomes a thing. I'm very interested to see how this is, and I really do like the introduction of Proplay. The next section is just simply going over shot timing. And this section is basically telling us how the early, late, very late, early release, all that stuff that we have from 2K23, it's different in 2K24. I think it's mainly just renamed because you have things like release at certain points of the shot. So you can do it from the base of the shot, the release of the shot, the push of the shot, kind of things like that. So I think it's pretty much just kind of renamed. But shot timing, obviously still going to be a thing in 2K24. And it's tailored our different modes. So park and rec, I guess, which are on the Hall of Fame difficulty level, at least that's what this is saying, is going to be green or miss, and more 5v5 modes like your My Teams, your Play Now Lines, things like that. They said it's going to be a little more forgiving. I'm hoping that means that whites aren't just dropping at a high rate, that you still have to time your shot pretty well. But those are going to be a little more forgiving just because you have way more releases and things that you have to take into account. Next section is about layup timing. Now, layup timing has always been in the game, but in 2K24, supposedly they kind of buffed it a little bit to reward people who actually are trying to master that system. So if you're doing, like kind of Euro cradles, hop steps, things like that, they're going to have a specific, layup meter. And that timing should be buffed a little bit. You can always turn it off. It's on by default when you get in the game. So if you're smoking layups, make sure you want to go ahead and turn it off. But they suggest you try to go ahead and master it. I'm a fan of layup timing, so I'm hoping that this is pretty good and buffed, just to kind of reward people who actually want to time all of their shots. All right, as for dunking, not really much has changed. It looks like you can, to do your meter dunks, you don't have to go kind of like up, down on your right stick anymore. You can go up, or up, down. It doesn't really matter. But the dunk meter is going to be green or miss. So it should be now where you can't get those late timings or early timings and still jam the ball. It looks like you're going to have to be able to green it or is going to miss, at least from what it's being said. What I think about that, I love anything that comes down to being skill-based and kind of precise in your timing. So if it's true green or miss, completely okay with that. I like to see some people smoke some dunks trying to go for a dunk meter on a fast break. The next section is just simply talking about paint play. Basically just saying they have a revamped paint play. As we know, 2K23 had a very, I would say frustrating paint play mechanics, or whatever really made it work, or not work, I should say. But 2K24 looks like it's going to have an updated paint play, emphasizing strength. Also being able to finish over the top of a smaller player in the paint should come a little more easier. And then they talked about how you can be able to branch out and basically do a putback at any time. I thought that we can already do this, but supposedly that's something that's kind of emphasized. So better paint play should be coming into 2K24. And if it is indeed better paint play, specifically paint defense, for me, I mean, that actually would be a very big change, because 2K23's paint play and paint defense The paint play on the offensive side was pretty broken. The paint defense was lacking. So hopefully it's a balance in there at some point. This next section is talking about dribbling. Okay, so dribbling supposedly is a very, very robust thing here in 2K24. Now, they talk about specifically in this blog how if you're flicking the right stick up, you kind of get a basic breakdown. If you're holding turbo with that right stick, you'll get a more aggressive breakdown animation. All the dribble moves, obviously, they're captured by Proplay, so you should see it be more fluid, more true to life, and dribblers should have a pretty good time with this. I think Mike Lang tweeted about how there's over like 150 something animations for dribbling now instead of just 30, which is pretty cool. So dribbling should be very robust. This also talks about a blowout dribble. Not sure if y'all know what a blowout dribble was. I don't have a clip from it, but basically it's when a guy pushes the ball ahead out if they're trying to get on a fast break. Kind of gives them a little bit of a burst of speed. And then there's going to be like a change of pace by just tapping the turbo button once you're in the half court. So kind of different ways to get open. Different varieties in the dribbling should be coming. My initial thoughts on this is I just have to wait and see. I've seen some pretty good dribbling in the Proplay trailer, specifically something with Steph Curry that looked really good. How this is going to actually translate once we kind of get in the game, once people get comfortable and, you know, I guess break the game if they can, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see if different animations are better than some. There's going to be a lot that goes into it, but from just the base of what we know, it sounds very good. Especially I like the addition of the blowout dribble, you know, kind of pushing that break, and a change of pace system. So I initially like this. It sounds pretty good, but we'll have to kind of wait and see what that entails. The next part is talking about community's favorite adrenaline boost. All right, so adrenaline boost. All right, I know you all, you want to throw a fit about the adrenaline boost, but they seem to have been reworked, honestly, probably for the better of the game. Now, the way that adrenaline boosts are set to work now is that you don't lose that adrenaline boost just anytime you're dribbling, okay? So it looks like if you make that forward movement towards the paint, kind of like 2 steps out of that dribble move, so at an actual attack or something like that, should lose the adrenaline boost. Now, if you're just sitting there kind of dribbling and sizing up, you shouldn't lose your adrenaline boost, which is good. Now, it looks like if you're covering short amount of distances, so, you know, maybe you're just kind of sizing up, you're not losing it, which is great. But the bigger thing with it is that the defender also can make you drain an adrenaline boost. So if they're able to get a bump on you, let's just say you're dribbling out of control, the defender's able to get a bump on you, you're losing an adrenaline boost. Now, it is reworked in a way that it doesn't just completely slow you down from dribbling, but it's affecting your shot attributes. So whether you're shooting, whether you're trying to finish at the rim, those may become more harder the more adrenaline boost that you're getting knocked off. So that should be a thing. Also, and this is for, I'm guessing, more of so like the Pro-Am guys or the rec guys, or even in the park, adrenaline does have a factor off ball as well. So there's always like kind of new, you know, off ball jukes that you can do to try to get open and create some space. Those also will use a bit of adrenaline as well, but they're set to work very well with getting open. So that'll be something that we have to see. Again, my initial take, it sounds a lot better than the adrenaline system from 2K23, because it does seem like it's going to allow a little bit more freedom for those guys who like to kind of ISO and create separation that way. And then I do like the emphasis on the off-ball movement. We'll see. There's been a lot of things talking about off-ball jukes that just never have panned out, but we shall see if it's a little bit better in 2K24. All right, our next big section in the blog here is just talking about defense. All right, so supposedly there is a lot of defensive emphasis in 2K24, which I'm gonna give you my initial take already. Listen, I love it, okay? Because defense has to be a thing. You have to reward defenders. So the big things with defense are basically that it supposedly just works, okay? You supposedly are able to bump the ball handler, again, taking those adrenaline boosts if you're able to do so. They talk about how bigs in the paint can make their presence felt when a smaller player comes in, which I did kind of see some things, like I said, in the Proplay trailer that did kind of show that. Now, I did see a lot of finishing over the top of the bigs, which is okay. The body contact and the physics at the rim is the main portion that needs to be there. So I did see some things, like I said, it looks pretty good. It looks like there's more kind of collision and people are just freely able to go to the rim, which we already know from 2K23, that was a big thing. But defense seems to have been revamped. Now there is skill-based defense, there's directional stealing, so you actually have to choose the hand that you want to steal with. Again, a feature that was in the 2K before, so they brought it back, which is better instead of just getting kind of a random RNG animation. So directional stealing is back, which is good. You can actually choose and have to pick the side of the ball, which should lead to more steal success if you're able to time that up correctly. Now the defensive contest system has also been reworked to kind of take into account more factors. Okay, so I guess before it was always just on the hand placement of where you actually contest, which I guess was leading to ghost contests. So it looks like it's more based on crowding and kind of where you are when that offensive player actually goes up for that attempt, which makes more sense in the basketball realm. You know, contest isn't just where you actually contest from. You know, if you're around them, that may come into account as well. So I'm hoping that this just means that in the paint specifically, there is more of a defensive impact, because we had it in 2K23 too much. Of course, mashing was a huge thing. So hopefully this new contest system and the removal of ghost contests also helps some things on the perimeter defensively as well. They also talk about blocking, taking a little more patience, and also how if you're jumping out of position and someone's getting you with pump fakes or, you know, pass fakes, things like that, whatever the case is, you can lead yourself into more fouls. So all of this sounds great. It looks like it's preaching solid foundational defense. Like I said, it's one of those things that we just have to wait and see, especially in a mode like my team, where, you know, we get players with crazy builds and insane badges. So it'll be interesting to see how this fully works in a mode like my team, especially once you start getting towards the middle to end of the game, where people are starting to get a lot more badges. Takeover has been revamped as well. So takeover is a new thing where instead of having as far as park and rec and things like that, we're making a build. Instead of choosing a takeover, it's different. So the way it works now is, as you get hot, or once you get hot, I should say, you get to choose actually in game which set of categories you want to boost. So whether you want to do your playmaking, your defense and rebounding, finishing, however they section it up, you're going to be able to boost a specific section. Now that is on the fly, so you don't have to have just a sharp takeover. If in the game you need more defense, you can boost the defense. Now it's said that if your categories are low in that specific section, you may not want to boost it because it's not going to change that much. So be very specific when you're making your builds, but it looks like you can change it on the fly, which does sound pretty good. Now, as far as my team, as far as the play now online, guys, I don't know how this is specifically going to work when someone gets takeover. I don't know if when that person gets it, if you choose a category or what kind of goes on there, but takeover as a whole is pretty much how it works. Now, if you have double takeover, you'll be able to choose 2 sections, and then this definitely has to be as far as park, because they said once you get the Mamba mentality, you get to choose 5 different sections. So I guess you get to boost your whole player, essentially, is what you get to do. Now, my take on the takeover system, I don't know how to feel about it just yet. Like I said, I mainly play my team. I do play some park and everything, but I don't know how this looks for my team. I really don't know how it works, so I can't bring out a valid opinion on it. I do like that it seems that you could change it on the fly. So if that's a thing for my team as well, perfect. That should be good for the park and pro am guys as well. That should be really good that you actually get to choose and kind of determine what your team needs at the time. Now, my only issue with it, this is more of a my team thing, is hopefully the takeover makes sense, because 2K23 had random procs of takeover that just didn't make sense. You would miss a shot and your team would get takeover. It made no sense. So hopefully there's an actual logic for rewarding you actually doing something to get your takeover, instead of just, oh, let me take the ball out of bounds, now I have takeover. The rest of the blog really talks about, says coaching with ease and freelance. Now, I'm not going to go too far deep into this. It can be a very complex thing. I love what I'm hearing with it, but basically smart play returns. There'll be something when you inbound the ball that suggests a play, what gives you the best play for that time of the game and which person it should go to, or something along those lines. You could just tap into it to click in, which should be pretty okay. I kind of like that idea. For those who don't run plays, let's go into that, because I feel like that's a bigger section of what's going on here. So specifically for my team, guys, okay, there's what's called a comp freelance. Basically, what you guys wanted are here now. You could basically get in a 5-out and your players will not move unless you tell them to. Now, we don't know. It looks like it's going to be through quick menus to tell people to cut. So that looks like it can be kind of a lot of buttons if you're just having your people stay still and they want to cut. But all in all, this is definitely what especially guys who love to play in the 5-out freelance like. They don't want their players cutting at random times, because there was a way to force people to cut. The real ones know. But they're not able to do that anymore. Your people will stay still and you can do what you need to do. Now, there are also what's called mini plays out of it. So I personally like this as someone with a strong basketball knowledge. There's different quick hits that you can hit out of a 5-out. So you can treat it like a more traditional 5-out and not like a 2K 5-out. There's things where you can basically get a ball screen, and then that leads into a flare screen. There's ways to come from an off ball screen to an on ball screen. And again, this is all in the 5-out setting. So I do like that they actually went the extra mile and not just made your players stick in one place, but also were able to have you run an actual offensive 5-out. All in all, man, that's pretty much it. Like I said, just an overview of what we got yesterday, kind of going over the blog, my initial thoughts. Tell me what you all think about these changes. Are you all like, what do you all think will work, won't work? What do you like? What do you don't like? Down in the comment section below, man. And definitely remember to go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you wish. But until next time, y'all, we out.